to another episode of NCOT, and welcome to Halloween.
Our Halloween episode.
What a spooky day today is.
As you can see, for those that are watching on YouTube, we're in our costumes. If you want to know what we're wearing, you're going to have to check us out. I guess it's a fun surprise.
Yeah, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever it is, come to our YouTube channel and you can see the costumes that we're wearing.
I think they're pretty fun. But that's just me.
It is currently actually October 31st at 12:37 a.m. I call this commitment.
Very, very committed. And what are we doing today?
Yeah, so I'm really excited because a couple days ago, we came across this one video on the interweb that was mentioning the study that is conducted every single year that shows the 10, well actually it's like 100, but it specifically shows the 10 scariest movies of all time based on science. So I believe this study this year is the first time that it showed stress levels for the people that was studied. And just really quick, so every year Broadband Choices recruits 250 viewers and subjects them to 40 scary movies in a screening room where their heart rate is monitored. So based on that, I'm not really sure what the 40 movies that they choose come from, but based on this is what they decide what the scariest movies of all time based on science are. And today we'll specifically be talking about these 10 scary movies, and we try to watch them all. So actually we got to all of them but the 10th one. Yeah,
this is the disclaimer. The 10th movie on the list is Talk to Me, which is a film that came out this year, right?
A little earlier this year, yeah.
Yeah, we did not, unfortunately, get the opportunity to watch it, so that will not be included on the list. We will instead be talking about the top 9 movies
that
are on the list. Or are we?
Dun, dun. I guess we'll get to that when we get to that. But anyways, should we get started with number 9?
Yeah, sure. So number 9 on the list is a movie called Hell House LLC. I don't even remember when it came out. I think like 2015, 2016, something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the movies that we had not watched previously.
Yep, never seen it before.
So in the past 10 days, we were just trying to binge all of these movies that we had not watched and were in this rank. And Hell House we watched maybe 5 days ago or so?
A couple days ago, yeah. It's found footage, but also like documentary filmmaking style of this group who own like a haunted house company that decide that this year that they're going to have their haunted house in this abandoned hotel. And looks like they didn't do their research on the hotel because it is actually haunted. And
they were actually learning some stuff about the hotel itself from people that lived in the town while they were already almost ready to open the haunted house.
Yeah.
I mean, just really quick, we're going to try to get to these 9 movies in the next 20-30 minutes or so. But this movie was scary.
Yeah. This
movie had my heart rate going up.
It piqued my attention from the moment we started, and it already like unnerved me. Yep. There was something about the way that they did the found footage horror that made me really impressed.
To be fair, Caitlin is already afraid of haunted houses as it is.
I refuse to go into them.
She went into one of them once and she was like, "This is it. I don't need them anymore."
With that.
So yeah, Hell House LLC number 9. This was made by a independent studio that it was difficult to find the production company. I believe it's just whoever produced it was the production company himself, but this same independent studio came out with a Hell House LLC 2, and I believe they're planning on coming with Hell House LLC 3 as it was initially planned out to be a trilogy, for which reason Hell House LLC 1 there are a couple different things that are left in the air and are not answered. But I mean, yeah, pretty scary movie. Yeah. We'll be giving you guys the ranking, our personal ranking, towards the end of the video.
You want to save it?
Huh?
You want to save it?
Yeah, we'll talk at the end.
So next up we go to number 8, which is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Fun fact, we just finished watching this movie about an hour ago.
About an hour ago, yes. Mm-hmm. Like I said, we're pretty committed.
Yes. This movie, I guess, so it's apparently based on a true story.
Yes.
Where a girl, she was believed to have been possessed by a demon or multiple demons. And she went through an exorcism. The exorcism was unsuccessful, and she ended up passing away like a little bit after that. So they arrested the priest who did the exorcism, charging him with like homicide, negligent homicide, I think is what it was. Yeah. And so it goes through like the trial, but also like a retelling of like her possession and what happened and whatnot. I really didn't like it. I really did not like it.
I find it really funny that this movie was ranked above Hell House.
I know.
I mean, if you like true crime and you enjoy horror to an extent, this is the perfect movie for you because it has mostly true crime and some horror.
It was more lawyer courtroom-y.
Yeah.
There was really barely any horror.
Yeah, I really like the movie, and I think so. The reason why it might not be as scary is because during the courtroom trial, they were going to the past as memories to show the scary things that have happened.
Yeah.
Those moments, I think, had really good jump scares and had really good tension at some points. And I was like, ooh, anything can come out of anywhere, anytime. But those moments were so quick, and they were not like any longer than 2 minutes at a time. It was most of the courthouse. Yeah. So if they were to do a whole movie just on those happenings, then it would have been way more scary than it is.
Yeah.
But as a true crime movie, I really liked it.
I just didn't like any of it. I didn't feel any tension, any sense of dread, really. I felt like I was just watching, like, I don't know, Criminal Minds or just something like that. Yeah, Law and Order. Like, that's honestly all it felt like. I didn't feel anything.
Sometimes those shows are more scary.
Yeah, and the ending was just... It's too happy for a horror movie.
I was surprised. As we said, we just watched it, and the ending was absolutely crazy and unexpected.
Yeah, but it was happy. Horror movies shouldn't end with a happy ending. That's my personal opinion.
All horror movies end in a happy ending.
Happy ending with a twist.
If they're not supposed to have a sequel, then usually they have a happy ending. I think.
I don't know. I don't even think it should be on this top 10 list, in my opinion, but okay.
Well, we'll get to one that really ruined me.
Number 7 was Smile.
Now that was scary.
That came out last year. You might have seen all the adverts where people were smiling
at
demonically.
Baseball games and football games and news reports and whatnot. And, I mean, those were already scary to begin with. And if you watch the movie... they become even scarier because what they mean for whoever sees these smiles. So I was absolutely terrified of this movie.
This movie was horrifying. So horrifying. Like the reason why I made the monster in my own film smile is because I find smiles to be unnerving and horrifying. Yeah. So this movie like took that to like the next level. I was always concerned. I was always freaked out. There's this sense where you don't know if what's happening on screen is actually happening or if it's all inside her head. You're just on this roller coaster. Very, very psychological. And there's some certain visuals that I think have been scarred into my brain. I won't say what they are, but you know what they are. And I'm not getting them out of my head. I couldn't sleep that night. I literally kept waking up. I had a nightmare
that night, and I love watching scary movies, and I watch them on a daily, and that was remarkable.
I had to like turn all the lights on when I would like brush my teeth at night, or like, it unnerved me in the best way possible. If you
see me looking down here, I'm just looking at the audio levels.
Ever the concerned audio engineer.
Have to be.
Of course. Any other thoughts on Smile?
Nope.
Okay. Then
must watch for sure.
We have number 6, Hereditary. This one, just watched it today. So why don't you tell them how you feel about it?
Yeah, so Caitlin had watched it a long time ago before we even met. So and she hates rewatching movies, let alone horror movies. So I decided, you hate rewatching movies, and I cannot see you rewatching a horror movie.
Do you know who I am?
She rewatches Disney movies.
I rewatch a lot of movies, okay?
Disney.
We just didn't have time to rewatch Hereditary together, okay?
So I decided to watch Hereditary while I was at work today. And on the side, I mean, it wasn't really a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was also kind of true crimey, but
really?
also like a psychological true crimey. Like, yes, there is something supernatural happening, but I feel like not only something supernatural, and I felt that a couple of times. And actually, the stuff that wasn't supernatural, throughout the movie, I was thinking that it was supernatural. If you're seeing the movie, there's the one specific character that approaches our protagonist, that it's a real person. You can touch them, you can feel them. And I thought this character was either in our protagonist's mind, or it was just like an imagination or something like that. I thought it was supernatural, but it happened to be just physical bad person. So it's definitely interesting. At the beginning, like 20 minutes into the movie, there's a really impactful kill that made me actually jump and scare my coworker. So
he frantically texted me in all like uppercase letters, like, "Oh my gosh, this just happened!"
But towards the end, I was kind of like getting onto it, and the ending wasn't really a plot twist. It was more like an interesting way that they approached it, but not necessarily something new.
I think the best way, I guess, like you can describe this movie to someone who's never seen it is like a family is dealing with the loss of like a family member, and they all deal with it differently, and it ends off like catastrophic. I thought it was really well done. I wouldn't necessarily say it was like super scary, but I felt the tension and those like really
there
weird
were really
moments.
Quiet moments.
You know what I
just
mean?
like a lot of waiting.
There was some unnerving sequences for sure, and the ending wasn't anything like I was like impressed about. It actually, it just felt like this makes sense. After everything I've seen, this makes complete sense. I'm rolling with it. I believe it. Can I go on to the next one?
Let's go.
Okay. Number 5 is The Conjuring.
I was trying to actually, because we watched this movie not super long ago, even before we decided that we wanted to start watching these movies, and we just decided to put it on as a Halloween spooky movie, I think. Unless we did want to watch. I don't remember how.
Well, because we were trying to watch the Conjuring series in order.
Yeah.
In like chronological order, from like Annabelle and the Nun and that sort of thing. So we admit, like, we've seen The Conjuring. I've seen it a couple of times. You've seen it now like twice.
Yeah, kind of like another disclaimer. There is some of these movies that we've seen multiple times, so we kind of get desensitized to them. So I'm trying to figure out how we felt the first time we watched it, and I think one of the reasons why The Conjuring is so iconic is because it brings all of these different characters together that actually have their own movies afterwards and whatnot. Say The Nun and
Annabelle and all that. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, it's definitely a scary movie. Definitely a must watch. But I feel like that goes without saying. I feel like if you like horror, you must have seen The Conjuring at this point.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And for those who haven't seen it, it's kind of like a classic haunted house.
Yeah.
A demon spirit attached to a house that terrorizes a family, that our heroes, Ed and Lorraine Warren, try to save them from.
Based in real life.
Yeah, it's like based on a true story.
Is an actual house
we would love to go to that house eventually, but we'll see.
Stay overnight.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, I've seen it quite a few times. I do remember it like freaking me out, but I felt okay. I felt almost nothing rewatching it now that I knew all that was coming. But I do remember it being like really freaky, especially since like I'm an only child, so sometimes I'd be home alone, and being home alone, that messed with my psyche a little bit. I also have a creepy basement, so that made me even more afraid of it.
All right, let's get into the next one.
Insidious. I like it a lot. The first time I ever watched it, I was in middle school. And it was at a sleepover party. And me and my friend were not sleeping that night. It was so freaky. The main demon from that movie, I think is one of the monsters that stuck with me. You know, like some monsters like stick in your head. That guy really did it.
The red one?
The red one. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I thought it, like, when it came out, like, I had never seen anything like it. It's basically a story in which, how do I describe it properly? A little boy, he gets into a coma, and he, like, his body is just sort of lying there, and it attracts all these dark entities. Because they're just, like, attracted to a soulless body. And so they start haunting them and their family.
Insidious is also a series, actually. And
we love.
Not long ago, we watched Insidious The Red Door, which is the latest installment of this series.
Yeah.
If you're interested in knowing what we thought about Insidious The Red Door, we actually do have an episode reviewing that movie. So feel free to check that out.
Yeah, definitely. It was really great overall. Again, we've seen it a bunch, so... Yeah. I don't know if we're going to be equal in rating it. But it was really good.
I try to rate mine. We each came on with a different rating. So I try to rate mine depending on how I feel remembering watching it for the first time and whatnot. So I try to stay unbiased.
Right. This next one, number 3, is incredibly controversial.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
If you say you like it and that you were scared of it, you're lying. You're absolutely lying.
This movie is Skinamarink. We actually watched this with the intention of reviewing it for the podcast. We just got caught up in school and were unable to.
It was at a really busy time.
But it's not found footage in a way.
It is nothing. It is absolutely nothing.
These two kids, I think they describe it as like these two kids wake up, and neither of their parents are there, and it's like late at night, and all the doors and windows are like gone, so they're just like trapped in their house, but there's something in there with them, and it's shot so weirdly. I don't even know if I can explain it properly. It's pretty much
pitch black the whole time. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
With very little happening. I admit I fell asleep during
I was falling asleep as well.
There's one really good jump scare that scared everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
Because it was so quiet.
I mean, if there's nothing happening and all of a sudden something really loud comes on, then yes, you're going to be scared. But it's not because you did a great jump scare. It's because you had a really boring movie.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I don't hate it. I just hate it a little bit.
It sounds like you kind of hate it. Anyways, I appreciate what the filmmaker was trying to do. But there was just so much like a lack of build up for certain scares and a lack of knowing even what's going on,
lack of storyline,
that it just kind of felt
lack of character development, lack of film. Let's get on the second one.
Number 2 is Host, which came out in 2020. It's a Zoom based horror film where they do this
while in Colombia,
which is not a good idea. Yeah, they
do
a
late
seance.
At night, really dark.
Yeah, and I think this had to have been one of the strongest reactions we've ever had to a film.
For sure.
We were so freaked out.
And we rewatched it afterwards, and I had my parents rewatch it.
We rewatched it?
I feel like we did.
I don't remember rewatching.
I might have had my parents rewatch it and we were present while they were watching it.
Maybe.
But I mean, really scary movie. Like, that one actually will
shiver
your timbers.
It's one of those things where it's like you have to look very closely and you'll see something happen in the background, and those type of scares really get to me.
Yeah.
It was horrifying. It was really unique. COVID Zoom themed as well. Which I guess
Perfect
made
timing.
it even more horrifying because you know that these people are technically supposed to be alone in their homes, but something is there with them. We were freaked out
I love that movie.
for a while.
That one I have no discussion with.
You appreciate it being in the
I
number
love that
two.
movie.
Number one movie this year, and apparently it
For
was
a
like
couple of
runner
years.
up for a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Sinister. Sinister is my all-time favorite horror movie. It's amazing.
Watched Sinister at some point in the past couple of years, but it was even difficult for me to remember that I watched it. But I was trying to like look around and whatnot to remember. And yes, I have watched this movie, but for the reaction that I had trying to remember it, I feel like it wasn't too memorable for me.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, for what I remember, I definitely liked the movie. I will most definitely be willing to give it a rewatch because I feel like I need to give it not a second chance because I'm sure I loved it when I watched it. But again, it's not memorable right now. If I watch it again, maybe I'll feel a different way. But
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a great movie. And I do remember it being really scary and really tense.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what it's about, it's Ethan Hawke is the main character, and he moves his family into a home where the previous family had all been hung in the backyard. And he uncovers a box of VHS tapes.
Which him watching, I think, was the scariest part by
I know.
far.
It revealed that there was more going on related to the murders of that family, and there was a demon.
Yeah.
There,
Plain
that
and
demon,
simple.
really solid monster creation.
demon.
That
Oh,
guy
it
sticks
was
in my
amazing.
head. He has stuck in my head for
Almost
years.
like a hard Metallica.
With the black hair coming down. Yeah. There's also some mix of like found footage VHS style filmmaking with the tapes that he found in the attic that we have to watch. It is particularly gory, which I like, but if you don't like that, I don't recommend this because it can be quite shocking. But that obviously added to the horror elements. I did find it really scary, but because I liked the gore, I think I got desensitized to it and just more interested in how they did
That's
those
another
sequences.
way that Kaylin usually uses to try to be less scared. It's like, oh, look at the
camera,
effects that they're doing.
Look at the makeup effects. Like, yeah, I do that all the time.
Should we get on our own
Personal rankings? Let's do it. Okay.
We'll go from 10
to 1.
to 1.
So, number 10.
What was your number 10?
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
My number 10, hands down, was Host. Just kidding. Skinamarink.
I understand your reasonings.
It's just a bad movie. The Exorcism of Emily Rose at least had actual horror.
It had a story that you could actually follow. I do understand that. But I mean, as far as scary movies go, it's at the bottom.
Do you think Skinamarink is scary?
Scarier than that movie.
That. All right,
Number
but
9.
I can see you do like those weird things.
What's that supposed to mean?
Let's get on to 9.
Number 9.
The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Skinamarink.
I think it's pretty plain and simple. I don't think we have to debate that one.
I'm glad we're roughly
I mean, my reasoning to put
page.
Skinamarink on 10th and this one on number 9 is because I actually enjoyed my watch with The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
That's true. You were having
As a
fun.
movie itself is a fun watch. It has really interesting aspects. I will rewatch this movie. Skinamarink, I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole.
You just hated it in general. It doesn't matter if there was slight tension for 2 seconds of the film. You didn't enjoy it at all. Okay, number 8.
I don't know if you might hate me for this one.
What did you put for number 8?
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hereditary.
Oh,
Wow.
Interesting.
See, I was saying, it's like
just not that
it's
scary.
psychological.
Yeah.
And there's some really tense parts, but reflecting on my reaction to it, I'm like in one ear out the other.
Yeah.
I kind of moved on really
It has
quickly.
specific moments that are amazing.
And certain visuals that stick with you, but it's nothing to cry home about.
Yeah. I mean, even some of the scares I rewatched because they were more interesting than scary.
Exactly.
All right.
Number 7.
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring? Hey, okay.
We're killing. I mean, we might be spun
it.
out for the rest of them. Who knows? No, I think there's one that differs for both of us. But
we'll see.
I mean, yeah, for the same reasons that we said before. But
it's a solid, scary movie that we just so happen to be not as scared of anymore.
Especially with the follow-up movies with like Annabelle and The Nun and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, don't even get me started on Annabelle. Okay.
Number 6?
Yes, 6.
Sinister.
Insidious.
Oh,
okay. Why did you put Sinister there?
Again, because I don't remember the whole of it. Maybe if I rewatch it again,
biased.
it will move up. Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, so disregard his number 6. I did Insidious, kind of for the same reasonings that I put The Conjuring there. It's just that I know that the monsters stuck with me more. It's always the monsters that get to me.
I get it.
So,
number 5. Insidious.
Sinister. Are we gonna keep doing this? Are we gonna keep flip flopping?
I love this. This is great.
Yeah. Again, Sinister is absolutely amazing. It's great. I love the movie. I tend to not find it scary anymore, but I think it's really up there.
Yeah. I also watched Insidious a while ago, but I feel like it stuck with me a bit more than Sinister. So that's why I just put
Especially with all the sequels and stuff.
Exactly.
You keep it going for sure.
Number 4.
Hell House.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, okay, we'll get to Hell House, but it was definitely more scary than Smile. For me, both were terrifying. Like, both were absolutely terrifying. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I will put them all at one, but I can't.
Great.
But I put Smile on number 4 because Hell House, it stuck with me more. It gave me more of a bad mouth taste.
That's true. Yeah. When it was over, you didn't feel like it was over. You're just like,
I was like, ugh.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel
the opposite.
Like flip-flopped opposite the way that you did with Smile. Because I think with Hell House, like, spoiler alert, there's a clown. And that, of course, is super freaky and whatnot. But I felt like it wasn't fully clear.
I like more psychological than I guess Sinister. Like Sinister as the word.
Right.
And you enjoy more Sinister than
I guess it's like our preferences, definitely, yeah.
Because Smile was definitely more like in your face.
Exactly. Whereas Hell House felt a little bit more atmospheric.
Yeah.
And more open-ended than Smile, for sure.
So number 3. Hell
Smile.
House.
Do we even need to explain? No.
At the end of the movie, I was just absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
All right.
And I literally woke up every like 15 or 20 minutes for the entire night after watching Smile.
Yeah.
That was not okay. That was not cool, man. It was not cool.
And let's get to number 2.
Number 2? Host. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, the same thing that we were saying before. This movie just the worst.
It rubbed me the wrong way. I did not appreciate it. So we should probably address the elephant in the room. We only talked about 9 movies.
What happens with number 1? Like, what's going on?
Number 1.
Well, this is a movie that we watched also in 2020.
Also
and we
in Colombia.
We have a really
2022.
Yes.
That's when we were in Colombia.
Wow. My mind just went sideways. But anyways, we have a really good reference point to say that this was number 1 because we actually watched it right before we watched number 2, which was Host. The movie, in fact, is an Argentinian film that it's only in Spanish, I believe, but it has subtitles in English. And even then, Caitlin was absolutely terrified. And it's funny that I use that word because actually the Spanish translation of terrified, aterrados.
The scariest movie
I
have ever seen.
And it doesn't even have a build-up. It's not like, oh, the first 30 minutes. It
just keeps punching you and you're just terrified
from the beginning,
you have no idea what's going on.
You want to die.
And like, of course, And some horror movies, a lot of them, they have some gory elements. But even the gory elements,
well done.
Where I was just like so horrified, I couldn't even appreciate how they did them. Because it just felt so real. The way that they filmed it, the way that
and it was that in combination with a lot of tense moments that you didn't know what was going to happen.
Jump scare after jump scare, and it hurt. I almost couldn't even watch. I was just perpetually hidden behind my own hands, curled up on a blanket on a living room floor, just terrified. I don't know. I feel like also the Spanish language made it scarier.
Oh yeah.
And like the setting and where they lived, it just made it even more scary, especially since it's apparently based on a true story. Isn't that what your uncle was telling us?
Yep. You just gotta watch this movie. I'm not even gonna explain it. You gotta watch it. I'm not sure in what streaming services it might be on right now.
I thought we watched it on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure we did. So it might still be on Netflix.
Yeah.
So give it a watch. Everybody that I had watched them, and they all hated how good it was.
The scariest film of all time. 100%. I don't know why that's not on the list. They should include that because that was not okay.
They only look at so many films. I don't think they looked at this one, but if they did, this one would be number one.
I was stressed. Yeah. I was incredibly stressed.
But
I have not seen it again since. But
this was our number 10, based on scientists' number 10, plus one. You can give us your number 10 on the comments. But I hope you really enjoyed our little Halloween special. Yes. And we try to put a lot of work into watching these films in the past 10 days or so. Because we're also watching films for another series that we have going on our TikTok. So it was just a lot of horror and spooky going on.
I don't think I've ever been more horrified in the entire month of October than this month with the amount of things I've had to read, watch, and rewatch.
Exactly. Well, with that, you can follow our podcast on Instagram at NCOT the podcast. If you're listening right now or watching us on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and any all of those platforms as NCOT with an exclamation mark at the end. Vice versa, if you're listening right now and you want to watch and see our beautiful costumes, you can find us on YouTube at That Film Couple. You can find me on Instagram as sebi.mp4.
And you can find me at caitlin.mp4.
And as I mentioned before, we also have a TikTok that we've been trying to put a lot of content in there. And we're doing the 100 horror bucket list movies of all time.
Yes, if you want us to have like more reactions to both good and bad horror movies, you should definitely check that out.
Definitely. And those are like short form content. So you'll probably love it. Thank you so much for being here one more week. And I hope you have a really spooky day today on Halloween. Or if you're listening to this after Halloween, I hope you're still spooked. And
cut. That was fun.
I love that. I hope you're still spooked.
Very good.